Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
It's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney. We're going to talk about how if you're sad to see Splash Mountain go, you're probably a racist. Probably a racist, according to, well, the media. Like Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone had a major meltdown about it. Do they even talk about music anymore?
I don't think they do. I think it's all politics. I think it's all politics now. Yeah, they used to just talk about, new albums and stuff, and now it's all movies and screeching about politics and yeah. So anyway, we're gonna talk about this. And the reason I had this pulled up is that because Disney has completely memory hold Song of the South, they've also memory hold the accomplishment of James Baskett, who was the first African-American male to ever receive an Oscar. He got an honorary Academy Award for his role as Uncle Remus, and unfortunately nobody knows about it because
we've mentioned it. Like, we've been mentioning it for years on here.
Yeah.
I mean, since way back, 2019, 2020, when they first started talking about changing Splash Mountain. We mentioned it. Or when they put the warnings on Disney Plus for Song of the South.
Yes.
So that was like 2020, 2021. So we've been mentioning it for quite a while.
Whoopi Goldberg knows that Song of the South, love it or hate it, it does have significant historical value for a number of reasons. And one of the first things she wanted to do back in 2017, how dare she, is she wanted to get Disney to re-release it with, some kind of a disclaimer at the beginning.
Right. Look,
HBO has done it with Gone with the Wind. And I would argue that Gone with the Wind is a more offensive movie than Song of the South. Actually, if you've seen Song of the South, it's a pretty boring movie overall. It
really was, actually.
It really is a pretty boring movie. I mean, it's not great. The best parts of it are the Brer characters. But, I mean, look, now there's a big controversy from people who probably didn't even know that Splash Mountain was based on Song of the South. Now they're all like, well, if you're sad about Song of the South and you're sad about Splash Mountain, you're probably just a racist and a bigot.
Well, I got tired of it, so I wrote a story on Pirates and Princesses because I got just fed up about hearing it.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about all this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants, guys. Over 289, almost 290,000 subs. We do talk a lot about Disney, having worked in and around the company for a number of years and running piratesandprincesses.net and having the Pirates and Princesses podcast and all that Pirates and Princesses stuff. So should we talk about the screeching first and then we'll talk about
let's talk the screeching first. So, okay, but we'll go back a little bit. So Disney announced, when was it? 2021? 2021, because it was during there was 2020. It was 2020.
It was 2020 during the summer of love.
Yes, 2020. I can't remember it all bunched together. So 2020, they announced that they were going to change this due to the current climate and the racist undertones of Splash Mountain. That they were going to acknowledge their problem and fix it because they wanted to do what was right for racism. Couple issues with that though. One is the fact that they greenlit it back when they greenlit it in the 90s. They knew it was problematic then, yet they still did it. Or like 80s or 90s.
It was late. Yeah, they actually
did. It was 90s in the Walt Disney World, but not 80s in Disneyland. Yeah,
they actually, here's the thing with Splash Mountain. They knew when they were working on it that there would be potential backlash because at that point in time, I think the last time Song of the South had been in theaters was, I think it was 1986. And it was never available on home video here in the U.S.
And there was people were pissed about it then, okay? Yes, so they knew it was a problem. But why'd they do it? Well, I'll tell you why they did it. Because they shut down America Sings and they had an awful lot of animatronics they needed to repurpose. So we needed to make a ride that, we want to do a flume ride. Let's make it something with animals. What do we have that has a lot of animals in it that's not like Bambi and his mom dies? Well, I know. Let's go do, the Brer Fox, Brer Bear, Brer Rabbit stories, that tie into the animatronics we already have.
Yes. So that's how this whole thing started, was Disney trying to save money.
Right.
They didn't want to build all new animatronics, so they're like, "What do we got laying around? A bunch of animals. What did we work on? Well, we did some funny animals back in the 40s, but people think it's racist. Well, just don't put any people in it."
And we can theme it right. It's just the animals. But there's a lot of comics. There's a bunch of comics that are the Brer animals that have nothing to do with the movie.
Which I spent several years working on those comics, and I love those comics.
And those characters actually existed before that movie. They were actually stories that were passed down and told. A lot of people, heard these stories and their kids. A lot of people that aren't white heard these stories for years. Okay. So they probably figured, hey, that'd be cool with the flume ride. It can splash into a briar patch. You know, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So there was that. Okay, that was first thing. Well, then comes Princess and the Frog. Now, in Disneyland, Splash Mountain is right next to New Orleans Square. As soon as we saw Princess and the Frog, Neon said, oh my gosh, I wonder if they're going to try to do something with this in Disneyland because New Orleans Square. It seems like they, and then you said, when you first heard the rumor that they were going to retheme Splash Mountain, the song of the, or to Princess and the Frog, you were like, of course they are, because it's in New Orleans Square.
What I had heard, and again,
this is a long-standing rumor for years.
Yeah, this is a rumor, but what I had heard is they actually kind of designed the Princess and the Frog to be a replacement for Splash Mountain. If the movie was successful, and that was the thing, the movie was not as successful as they were hoping because it was 2D and it was just bad timing. But beyond that,
her daughter loved it. It's still one of her favorites.
That was, I think, the first movie.
Tiana's like her favorite princess.
Yeah, she loves Tiana. Anyway, so she's not too upset. She loves Splash
Splash Mountain's one of her favorite rides, and Tiana's one of her favorite princesses. So she's good either way.
Yeah, it's win-win. But yeah, the rumor was they actually designed it thinking that they were going to replace Splash Mountain with this princess if it did well. That concept art that they whipped out in 2020, like in response to this survey that just popped up mysteriously on change.org last week, we've got this really well thought out, well rendered concept art. No, that concept art was actually done years ago. They've been talking about this for like 10 or 12 years.
Every time they would bring it up, people would get mad. They were like, we don't want you to change it. And prior to 2020, they were like, okay, people are going to get too upset, so we can't change it because it's going to cause too much backlash. But then, like all of Hollywood and like Disney of recent years especially, when 2020 hit, they were able to hide behind, the diversity, inclusion. Yeah. And if you didn't like it, you were racist. Just like if you didn't like Reva in Star Wars, it's not because it wasn't a very good character or you didn't care for it. It's because you're racist.
Of course.
If you didn't like, Last Jedi, it's because you're racist and a misogynist. It's their go-to now is to just hide behind diversity and other people, using them as a shield. And that's what they did here. And I mean, they wanted to change it anyway. It was a convenient excuse that let them push it through. That's what happened. For whatever reason, they're changing it now. So now, because it's current year, all the activists on Twitter need something to screech about. So they were going after this. Then it went on for years and they didn't change it.
Yeah. So, and again, I think a lot of people are just finding out that this is a
lot of people didn't know.
Because they don't even know what Song of the South is. Let's be honest. Disney has done such a wonderful job completely burying this movie. And again, doing a huge disservice to James Baskett, in doing so. But they have completely buried this movie. There is no reference to it really at all on the ride. Very little. And
just the characters mostly.
Yeah, and the people probably just think, hey, these are just funny animal characters, zippity-doo-dah.
And the laughing place and stuff, and that's about it. But it's true though. I've been on different Disney boards, and when this was announced, people were like, wait, this is from Song of the South? They didn't even know. Like, what's Song of the South? They had no idea. Most people don't even know. So here's where I come in. It's like this liking thing does not make you racist. Which leads me to this. Everybody is going around calling anybody who's sad that it's closing a racist. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing it. Because you like this attraction does not mean you are a racist. That is fucking stupid. For so many reasons.
Not just regular stupid, but fucking stupid.
That's right.
Which is like ludicrous speed for stupidity.
That's right. So, yeah, people are like mad about it. And then people are upset. And there's a lot of reasons people might like this attraction, okay? A lot of people mentioned that they went on it for years with their family, like their parents always took them when their parents have passed away, or they've been going on it since they were a kid and it was their favorite ride then, and they've been sharing it with their kids, and they just really like this attraction. And then other people have brought up the fact that I grew up listening to these stories when I was a child, and I knew the Brer characters from the stories that my grandparents told me, and I'm very, very happy to see this. And again, not everyone is white.
Actually, I would say the Brer characters mean a lot more to people who aren't white.
Yes.
Given that a lot of those characters were passed down from African folktales, and they're just gonna, just erase it.
It's like completely. When we took Aunt Jemima off of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is stupid. And then, this doesn't make someone a racist. Liking this ride and feeling sad that it's changing. Some people just don't like change, okay? Feeling sad that a ride is closing that you really like. doesn't make you racist any more than if you like using a treadmill, you like torture. You are pro-torture, and it's okay to torture people because that's what treadmills were made for initially. Some argue they still are.
So the Maelstrom closed down. They got rid of actual Norwegian representation, and they replaced it with fake Norway.
For Epcot.
IPCOT. And that is cultural appropriation.
Well, how about the Three Caballeros, the ride in Mexico? It used to be an actual ride about Mexican history, and they repurposed it to put the Three Caballeros in there. So is that cultural appropriation?
Donald is not Mexican. Actually, only one of those birds is from Mexico.
That's true.
Guess which one? No, seriously, most people don't know. Cheeto. It's Panchito. I worked on their comics too.
Yes, you did.
I did. I love Panchito.
And then, like a lot of us like to eat, right? You like vegetables and things like that. A lot of the techniques they use in farming to make sure that there's enough food for everyone, because otherwise if they didn't use these techniques, you wouldn't have enough food for everyone, based on things that came from chemical warfare. I guess if you like to eat, you are a proponent of chemical warfare. That's the same logic. This is stupid.
Do you like Volkswagens? Do you want to know where they came from?
That's a good example.
There's a certain mustached individual that just loved Volkswagens. It's a people's car.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, this is dumb. Are there actual racists out there? Hell yes. There are actual racist, shitty people out there. But social media has people convinced that there are bigots and Nazis hiding around every corner, and that everybody who likes something you don't like or disagrees with you is one of those things. You're not a racist if you like Splash Mountain. That is absolutely stupid. These people need to get a grip. Now, it was going to change no matter what. Disney's been looking for an opening. It was just a matter of time till it happened.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's not
convenient excuse.
Convenient excuse. Now, what I am concerned about, and I'm going to tell you the truth, there's going to be so much pressure on Disney to get this one right. Like,
they've already changed it from the concept art and made it less.
Yeah, they actually had a boat on top of
a tree. It was a big tree.
Big tree.
The big tree on top. I don't think it'll support it. So they already pared it down.
If this thing winds up being just some like ridiculous screen heavy ride through without many animatronics, people are going to scream bloody murder. They are. It
better be an improvement, or people are going to.
It's going to have to be, and that's kind of the complaint people had with Frozen. Was they're like, yeah, the Maelstrom was cheesy. There are a couple of nice animatronics in Frozen, but really, there's not much of a ride. It's like you basically ride up to the top, get a musical number, and then you're done.
But no, it always was not much of a ride.
Yeah, I know, but we had trolls and
like the Maelstrom. It's the same ride system. It's going to be the same thing. I don't think anybody's arguing that the ride needs overhauled because the boats are sinking inside the ride. It needs work. Change is going to happen, especially in a Disney park. Things change, and it sucks. I'm not going to lie. I'm still salty about Journey to Imagination, and people are still upset about Horizons and stuff like that. It goes with the territory. Stuff is bound to change. It's been 31 years.
Yeah.
It's probably due for some kind of update. Let's be honest. I feel bad, but I understand it because I've done this for years. And like I said, our daughter, would be the most upset because that's one of her favorite rides ever. She's okay with it because she likes Tiana, and that works for her. But make no mistake, this is about Disney pushing princess merch.
Yeah, that's what this. Look, this whole thing was, if the rumors are true, which I'm inclined to think they are, that even the Princess and the Frog was kind of designed with the re-theme of Splash Mountain in mind, given where it is in Disneyland, and it was all about selling princess merch because. Yeah, people were buying bagfuls of Song of the South plushies and whatever.
Oh, they're going for hundreds. Now the newest one. People are selling water on eBay and saying it was water from the ride, and they're getting all kinds of money for it. And some of these people live in states that are so far that I don't know how they would have got home fast enough to list it. It's probably tap water, guys.
It's from Jersey.
Don't buy it. I'm totally serious.
Yeah, so look, I just can't believe everyone. Racists are angry that racists are mad. Then this is kind of like low-key shit. This is coming from NBC News. Of course, competitor Comcast has never done anything, inappropriate ever, right? But they actually point out correctly in this article, they point out that there were way, 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 way more people that wanted to save Splash Mountain than people who were pushing for a retheme. And in fact, there's been massive backlash to them retheming it. But then, of course, they get to the bottom. They're like, well, part of the reason you have to retheme it is because of this guy right here with that sign. Because he's probably
I don't know if it's the same guy, but I know there was a guy who kept putting banners up at Disney, and he got like permabanned.
Yeah, he did. That's the guy. Yeah,
that was still him.
Yep.
And he kept doing it. Kept putting banners off at like the train station in different places, and he got in trouble. That okay, yeah, there are always some people that are extremists. We don't know that guy. He might not be racist. We don't know. I'm just like, but this whole idea that if you don't like it, it's because you're a terrible person. It's absolutely stupid. Any more than, someone being, yes, I want to get rid of it, makes them like on the side of righteousness. And this one has a lot of gray areas to it too, because like you mentioned, by burying some of the South, they're actually burying the person that won, like the first, black man to win an Oscar.
Yeah, and that's a shame. I mean, because they won't even show the movie. They won't even allow people to watch the movie with a disclaimer. There are other movies out there that were problematic. Now, here's the thing about Son of the South, too. Everybody's like, oh, it's slavery. It's like, no, it's actually the Reconstruction period. They're not slaves or sharecroppers. Not much better. I know it's not much better. I know it's not much better, but, whatever. It's not as edgy as Gone with the Wind. It's actually a very, all things considered, tame movie. It is a product of its time. I personally do not understand why, if you have somebody speak for 5 minutes before it and say, look, this thing was made in the 40s and this is what the thing, but also point out its technical achievements, because it was a technological marvel when it came out. I mean, Disney threw like everything at this movie.
And Walt was told it was a bad idea.
He was told it was
I'm not going to lie and say he wasn't.
Yeah,
he was told it was a bad idea. He was
told repeatedly back then, like, hey, do you really want it, Walt? Do you really want to do this? And when they were building Splash Mountain, even Imagineering, they're like, do we really want to go there with Son of the South? Because we just vaulted that movie like 2 years ago.
Yes, make no mistake. Disney was well aware it was problematic when they did it the first time.
Yeah.
They didn't care then.
They didn't care then.
They don't really care now either. They're just doing it because they wanted to do Prince. They've been trying to do it for years. And every time they tried, they got, stonewalled. So now they're like, oh, look, we have a reason. So if you don't like that we're changing it, it's because you're a terrible person. And this is also Disney, who, I want to remind you, fixed the Jungle Cruise by taking out the natives and making them chimpanzees, and then taking Trader Sam at the end and making it a lost and found, removing him, but making it a lost and found, where apparently he is selling the lost and found items that he fencing stuff out of his lost and found store. Same Disney.
So yeah, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It was never about diversity and inclusion. It's something they've been pushing for a while. And yeah, people are going to feel sad. Anytime you take a classic attraction away and you have good memories about that attraction.
And this is a big attraction.
It's a huge,
It's one of the mountains of Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, so it's kind of a big deal. This isn't just like some, like walk through whatever. Like if they shut down the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse and they rethemed it, which they've done in Disneyland, most people are going to be like, oh, that kind of sucks.
Even the Maelstrom, which had a cult following, we always loved it. But it wasn't super popular.
No, Splash Mountain.
Yeah, but Splash Mountain is definitely a big thing. It's like one of the mountains, the parks. You can see it from way far away. A lot of people love it. Now, again, to those people that are upset, it's the same ride. It's going to be the same ride system. It's still going to be the same. You're still going to be able to go to the top and take pictures of the fireworks and everything else. They're just going to change the characters and the story. But the ride itself is going to remain the same overall, mostly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a reskin. It's, again, though, they have a lot to prove with this one, given the controversy around it. Like, this had better be, like, you cannot cheap out on this ride for a number of reasons.
Right.
One, you can't cheap out on it because you made such a big deal about this being a diverse and inclusive ride that if you don't put everything into it, you're going to get called out by people saying that Disney just did a hack job on the diverse and inclusive Tiana ride. So you're going to get called out in that regard. And then the Disney fans that love Splash Mountain are going to call you out and be like, you gave us a budget cut version of an attraction that had all these animatronics and stuff going on. And
no, the upsides. There are upsides. Okay, a couple upsides. One, they're going to finally fix the damn ride. I can't tell you how many times we've been on there and it broke.
Yeah.
And the lights came on, and we never had to be evacuated off. We've got stuck. And my daughter and I, when I say we, because Neon and Trisket don't like it that much.
I'd ride it, but it's
they'll
not.
ride it, but they're not
like
huge
drops
fans.
that much, yeah.
And we call it Smash Mountain because that's where he broke his phone. I want to repeat that it wouldn't have broken if he'd let me hold it and do a video like I wanted to, but he insisted that it would get broken that way and then put it in his pocket, to which it got broken. Another upside, we'll get back to the thing. They're going to fix it. The boats are sinking. It's breaking down all the time. There's a running joke that you can't have a day without Splash Mountain going down. It needs fixed. It needs updated. So there's that. That's a plus side. We're going to have newer animatronics, better sound. The story's changing, but that is an upside. It's going to have better, everything probably. And more, this was done in the 90s, like 92. Yeah. So
yeah, Magic Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah, so in Disneyland older than that. So and Disneyland's wasn't as good as Walt Disney World.
Disneyland's it was just leftover animatronics.
I didn't like it as much.
No.
So there are those positives. I hope in Disneyland they make it wider so you have the 2-seaters because the toboggan style sucks.
I don't think they can though because of the width of the.
Because it sucks.
I know it sucks, but I'm just saying I don't think they can do it. I think they're stuck with that.
There are some upsides. The sound system will be better. I'm sure they'll do a lot to it to make it a better attraction, a smoother attraction, because they can now that it's down to the end of 2024. So they said winter, which is very, very end of 2024. So there is some upsides. Again,
probably for Christmas, I'm guessing, or Thanksgiving, Christmas time.
I was surprised they took it down this fast because Tron isn't going to be up until later this year, April 4th. And I thought they would wait till then.
Well, they usually do take it down in January, February.
That's true. Yeah. But I mean, given the crowds they're going to have, I thought they'd take it down, but they wait a little bit, but they didn't.
Bob Iger's back. It's like, so where's my non-racist water ride, guys? What happened with that?
Yeah.
We're working on it, Bob.
Yeah, well, last year they got so much pushback, they had to make sure they made announcements about it. And we saw stuff at D23, and they have a new song and all this other stuff. Disneyland's is going to probably shut down anytime now because Disney World's went down.
Well, they took Zippity Doodah out
they're not playing anywhere.
Like a year or two ago.
But it is funny. Apparently, they still had T-shirts up at Disney Springs for the 50th anniversary one. They had like a retro Splash Mountain T-shirt. People were complaining and losing their shit because there was still a T-shirt left in the parks. How dare they? They're still racist swine. So, they are the culture warriors are out there making sure that it's struck from existence forever because they are offended and most of them are white Karens, but still, or maybe they're Beckys. There's a lot of Beckys out there that they're like because the young version's Becky, the middle age is Karen, and the old one's Susan apparently. Like
Pokemon.
Yeah, that's the evolution.
Yes.
The Becky turns into Susan eventually. So it's a bunch of people, probably a lot of white women. Young white women who are offended on behalf of everyone else because that is literally their existence. That is their identity. But I mean, it's not the end of the world. There are going to be some positives with it. I mean, we're kind of the place where it's like, we feel a little bad about it, but we're like, we're not like, oh my God.
I'm to the point where Disney's going to Disney and they've already effed things up beyond
We knew this was coming for a while.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. Now, I think they're probably going to do Dr. Facilier. I'm guessing it's going to be
I'm hoping
the other side's going to be the,
I'm hoping. See, there could be some really cool things done with this on the upside. I like that. I hope they do.
Like the shadow, I could see you doing the incline, and you could see the shadows maybe projected on the.
That would be awesome.
That would actually be pretty.
It
cool.
Really, the way up the tunnel wasn't that great. It's just briar patch.
Yeah, but I mean, if they do Dr. Facilier,
that would be really cool.
That would be cool. So I mean, it might be really good. I'm trying to be. I think my thing is I'm just stop trying to turn this into such a damn issue. And again, a lot of people that are getting upset about the racism in Song of the South didn't even know what the hell the movie was a year
ago. Didn't even know that until they announced that there was anything to do with racism about this ride. And I think we're at the same place where we're just okay, it needed fixed anyway, whatever. I'm more upset though, and why we're talking about it, about the fact that people are legitimately getting attacked because they like this attraction and they're being called racist because they like this. And a lot of people didn't even know it had anything to do with Song of the South. This is stupid. You're not a racist if you like Splash Mountain. Okay. And you know what's going to happen? If people ride the new ride, they don't like the new ride. They're going to be racist because they don't like the new ride because it's Tiana. You're not going to win.
Oh my God, you're not going to be able to win this. It's going to be even if the ride winds up being balls because they cut some corners.
But they'll cut corners because it's Disney.
It's Disney and they already are running out of money and they're cutting corners. If they cut corners, it's going to be you're not going to be allowed to criticize this ride because if you do, you just You're a racist. There's no win in this one.
No,
like
and while I'm kind of looking forward to see what they do with it and fixing the damn thing because it needs fixed.
And the killer about all this, right, is that the people complaining about this the loudest are people that don't even go to the parks.
They probably don't even go. Yeah, they don't even go there.
It's like the same people that are trying to get Hogwarts Legacy canceled, not realizing that J.K. Rowling makes more money off of butterbeer in Universal because that's on their radar because they don't go to the parks.
I like to go to Universal and dress up as in my robes and pretend that J.K. Rowling had nothing to do with it. I pretend the person that wrote it was K.J. Rowling.
H.R. Puffin stuff.
That's right. And I still drink my butterbeer and spend my money, so I can, in my mind space, I'm not doing anything wrong. But she makes more money that way than she does for you buying the stupid game.
Yeah, I know.
You're trying to boycott. But why we're doing this is because we think it's absolute bullshit. People are called racist. They're upset about it closing. And with bullshit that they're erasing the legacy of somebody, of James Baskett, because they're trying to hide it.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's the biggest travesty. I mean, it's bad enough that he didn't even get to go to the premiere of the movie because they premiered the movie in Atlanta and he was not allowed in the theater. And he was the star of the movie.
No.
So not only did he have, and his grave is like, hardly anybody visits his grave. Disney doesn't talk about him. He should be a Disney legend. They don't talk about him.
So even if they forget, if people forget about Song of the South, don't forget about him.
No, and Disney has, I mean, for all this talk of diversity and inclusion, they've done a damn fine job of making sure everybody forgets who this guy was.
They don't care about it unless it actually benefits them.
Pretty much.
They'll gladly cut it out to pander to China.
All right, we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.